Shalom, shalom. I like to say Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS and salutations to you brothers out there that's doing this work and truth and sincerity. So nuclear attention is hitting its peak because for years now, I remember when I first got into the truth that, nuclear tensions were high, but it wasn't as high as it is now. At one point, you had North Korea, Kim Jong Un, that was at the ready. They were at the ready. I remember there was even an article that came out years back, man, where Kim Jong Un actually told his citizens to get ready to evacuate because of the nuclear tensions that were during that period of time. But going on years later, nuclear tension is at an all-time high, man. It's at an all-time high. Like there's back-to-back articles of nuclear threats, nuclear articles coming out, people looking up nuclear weapons and the effects of nuclear weapons. Like the whole nuclear program is at an all-time high, man. And it's beautiful because when reading through the scriptures, you run into scriptures that talk about weapons of indignation, the arrows, fire, lake of fire. The Lord created the smith that blew off the coals and the fire. Scriptures that talk about it shall burn as an oven. When I first got into this truth, I remember the brothers always bringing up the Sarah Connor straggling the fence, and that was, I think, the first Terminator, right? So again, man, nuclear tension is at an all-time high, in 2024. Right. So it says secret military files reveal when Russia would consider using nuclear weapons, including the destruction of 20% of its ballistic missile submarines. And one thing I want to add on to that is that nuclear attack isn't going to happen until the MOTB or the Karagma is pushed mandatorily, because that's one of the major prophecies that gotta come to pass, right? As that MOTB and the Karagma being pushed heavily upon the people, right? So it says the Financial Times have attained. Well, let me read this. It says Russian nuclear missile rose along Red Square during the military parade marking the 75th anniversary of Nazi defeat on June 24th, 2020 in Moscow and Russia. These are the two nations that I know that parade their missiles around. It's Russia and North Korea. They parade these devastating weapons around. The Financial Times, America does too, but I'm not, when America parades, America mostly parades around their military might, not so much as their weapons, but more their military might. Usually when you want to watch a lot of their military weaponry, you have to go to, what is that? DARPA? I think it's DARPA. Is it DARPA? Let me look it up. DARPA is, I think, one of the DARPA. If I'm not correct, I think DARPA is a part of America's defense. Let me see. DARPA, it says government agency, the Defense Advanced Research Project. Agency is a research and development agency of the United States Department of Defense responsible for the development of, let me see. I don't know why I did that. Development of emerging technologies for use by the military. So yeah, so DARPA. I'm surprised I remember that because the last time I looked up DARPA was years back. But DARPA is, one of the research facilities used by the U.S. to develop more weaponry. Like they right now, I think DARPA is actually developing military robots. When I looked this up years back, they said in like 20 something they should have military robots. And the crazy thing is you're starting to see a lot of more movies coming out with military robots. You have that movie, I think it was Chappie. It was called Chappie, where they had military robots. You have a movie right now. I think it's cut in like separate parts. It's called Code. I think Code 8, where they have like military robots and military dogs, which we know that the police force right now have the capability of now using military dogs to access different locations, so they could send a dog in first instead of sending a person in there, a police officer or whoever, or a military unit. But you're starting to see more and more of these robotic type of robots that's actually being used for the police force, and more likely for the military, man. So that's yeah, I'm surprised I even remember DARPA. But it says the Financial Times have obtained leaked files that show Russia's strategic planning for nuclear war. The documents outline scenarios in which Russia might deploy nuclear weapons. Per the report, details include how much of their military defense needs to be destroyed in order to go nuclear, which we know in fact that Russia have many missiles, many ballistic missiles, nuclear missiles, advanced missiles, hypersonic missiles, because this is one of the nations that's going to be used to wipe this place off the face of the earth. The scripture says they coming from the north. Actually, let me get that. What is that in I think that's Isaiah 13. Let me see. This is Isaiah. No, maybe I'm thinking of Jeremiah. Hold up. Well, I could get this too. And then I try to grab the one in Jeremiah 50:51, because it talks about them coming from the north countries. Isaiah 13 and 3. It says, I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones from mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathereth together. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the hosts of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh in the weapons of indignation to destroy the whole land. How ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand, it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. So we know this is coming by way of Yahweh Yahweh Shah, right? So let me see. I want the one where it says they coming from. North Country. Let me see. Salakia, bear with me for a second. Ah, my bad. It's actually Jeremiah 50. Yeah, Jeremiah 50. I'm gonna start up at 1. The word that Yahweh spake against Babylon, against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish and set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Say Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. So again, nuclear, nuclear, this the nuclear threat is at a high, at a high alert. Really, is at a high alert or high tension, right? Because there's a lot of articles coming out, a lot of videos coming out on nuclear threats. So it says the Kremlin, if I'm saying that right, has considered a broad range of scenarios for when the country should go nuclear. Leaked Russian military actually, that was an article a while back. I think it was in 2022 or 2023 or something like that, where they was talking about Russia attacking Ukraine with a nuclear missile, right? So nuclear war is at a all-time high right now, man. It says what was it? The Kremlin, if I'm saying that right. Let's see if I'm saying that right. Salaka, bear with me for a second.
Kremlin.
Right, Kremlin. So it says the Kremlin is the citadel of a Russian city. It says capitalized, the Kremlin citadel of Moscow and seat of government of Russia, and formerly of the Soviet Union, the Russian government. So the Kremlin has considered a broad range of scenarios for when the country should go nuclear. Leaked Russian military files obtained by the Financial Times showed. It says the 29 leaked files pertain to technical nuclear weapons and are dated from 2008 to 2014, meaning they're at least 10 years old. The weapons described in the files are meant for specific battlefield targets. There's actually there was a Newsbreak article that came out, I believe, a week ago, or 2 weeks ago or something like that, where they said that missiles that Russia have stored up, they're outdated. So they're going to take those missiles and update them. So they have missiles right now that are outdated that they're going to be updating soon. It says the weapons described in the files are meant for specific battlefield targets and are not the intercontinental range warheads. Admend a wiping out entire cities, but the documents do outline details conditions for how much of Russia's military defense systems need to be destroyed to trigger a nuclear war, per the FT. It says, for example, Russia may use nuclear weapons if 20% of its strategic ballistic missile submarines are eliminated. The outlet reported such submarines are the ones capable of launching nuclear missiles that would trigger the all-out war feared during the Cold War. So again, nuclear tensions is at an all-time high right now. It's at an all-time high now. You ain't got a lot of people that's too worried about it, but you have some out there Googling World War III, and I brought this up a couple weeks back when I was out on the highways and byways that Sunday. is that was an article that came out on like one out of three people are looking up World War III, right? So the algorithms are picking that up. So algorithms are also picking up how many are actually looking up nuclear missile attacks and things like that, because war is at an all-time high right now, right? It's only a matter of time before China attacks Taiwan. It's only a matter of time before NATO get into war with the BRICS. It's only a matter of time before all these things happening, right? Because the scriptures talk about, let's go into the book of Joel, the third chapter. It talks about what? It says, Joel 3:9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So this is what they're preparing for. They're preparing for all out war. The Lord is putting the spirits together for the threats of nuclear attention is out there. It's getting heavy out there, man. And there's more and more articles coming out on nuclear weapons from Iran, Russia, China, the U.S., etc. So it says, for example, Russia may use nuclear weapons if 20% of its strategic ballistic missile submarines are eliminated. The outlet reported such submarines are the ones capable of launching nuclear missiles that would trigger the all-out warfare during Cold War. Other thresholds of nuclear war includes if 3 airfields or 30% of Russia's nuclear power attack submarines, such as the Yuzin-class subs Moscow has continued to add to its naval fleet, are destroyed. These files include details of war games, war simulations, often conducted for military strategic planning, and presentations for naval officers, according to the Financial Times. Notably, they also include scenarios where China invades Russia, including conditions when Moscow might deploy technical nukes in the first strike decision. Per the FT, one scenario involves using technical nuclear weapons to stop China from pushing further into Russia, with second Echelon units, a term that typically refers to a second invasion wave that will support and reinforce an initial assault. Now, I can't say anything about whether or not China's going to invade Russia, but we know that the North countries are going to come together to destroy the U.S. or Babylon. Why? Because it is prophesied in the scriptures for them to do so. We just went into Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, and the 3rd verse. Matter of fact, we can grab that again. And actually, I'm going to grab it in a different translation. So this is the NLT. This is Jeremiah 50:3. For a nation will attack her from the north and bring such destruction that no one will live therein. Everything will be gone. Both people and animals will flee. So we could see that even in the NLT it says her. So we know that's talking about Babylon. That's talking about America, because America represents what? Liberty. It represents freedom, the statue of Lady Liberty. So the scriptures talk about this place being destroyed. It's talking about for the nations, for a nation will attack her from the north. What nations is going to attack her? Well, we know that China, Russia, the BRICS nation is going to get involved. We know they have nuclear capability. You could research these things. So we know that if a nation get attacked by nukes, it's going to be America. But according to the scriptures, many nations are going to be hit by way of nuclear missiles, because once one nation throw their missiles up, all of the other nations are going to do the same thing, because it's going to cause massive destruction. So if Russia was to shoot missiles at the U.S., the U.S. will shoot missiles at Russia, but that effect of nuclear missile attack on Russia will also be spread over to whatever nations are around Russia. So once these missiles go up, all the other nations are going to throw their missiles up too. So back to back nations are going to be destroyed. But we know that America and Israel have to go, right? America and Israel have to go. And that's all through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Shemiah Shah. So I want to get this in the NIV as well. So in the NIV, it says, a nation from the north will attack her and lay waste her land. No one will live in it. Both people and animals will flee away. Let's see here. That's pretty much it, man. That's all I wanted on Jeremiah 50:3, because that's what it's going back into. So I want to grab this in Jeremiah 50:9. It says, I start up at 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as the goats before the flocks. For though I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her, from thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expertman, none shall return in vain. So we know that we know that the attentions between the nations in nuclear war is gonna take effect due to it's prophesied in the scriptures for that to happen. So again, going back into the article, it says such documents indicate that Russia has considered an attack from China, even as Beijing and Moscow continue to build close diplomatic ties in the 21st century. In 2022, 8 years after the most recent secret document was produced, both nations declared a no-limits partnership. This pledge was to maintain close ties and bolster each other's economy and military. Meanwhile, China has publicly maintained that it adheres to a no first use nuclear policy and will only use nuclear weapons in response to a nuclear attack. So there you go. You know, if one nation shoots off, the other nations are going to do too. So you got nations that's under this no first use policy where they will only use their nuclear missiles if a nuclear missile gets shot off, right? The FT reported that a spokesperson for Russian President Vladimir Putin challenged the authenticity of the document when asked about the nuclear files. It says a spokesperson from China Foreign Ministry told the outlet that Moscow and Beijing have legally established the concept of eternal friendship and non-enmity. The Chinese Foreign Ministry press service did not immediately respond to a request for comment sent by Business Insider. Since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, Putin has upped the ante around its nuclear rhetoric, so much so that some military officials and experts have begun to raise doubts about the Russian leader's threats. In September 2022, after Russia began the partial mobilization of reservists for the war in Ukraine, Putin raised the specter of nuclear war, proclaiming that his warnings were not a bluff. So there you go. A nuclear war is at high alert, high intentions right now, man. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it from there and say Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, and salutations to you brothers out there that's doing this work in truth and sincerity. I like to say Shalom.